Holy shit, I've made 3 videos this week. Yes, I am. If you don't know what that means, Google it. I never said I was against progressive taxes. What I said was I was against the concept of progressive taxes mixed with welfare programs that are paid for by the taxes of those who make more money. People who make more money get taxed a higher percentage than those who don't make that much money, and a portion of the money that comes from those who are taxed more goes to programs that the people who made more money can't even qualify for. They're programs that are designed for and only usable by people who don't make a certain amount of money. So you're taking money from one person and giving it to another person. That's theft. That's wealth redistribution. And yes, I am against that. I got a question for you. Is downloading music illegally good or bad? Sure, we don't have any sympathy for the record companies that we're totally ripping off with our 99-cent download. That's 99 cents that's not going to go into the pockets of people who are making billions already. But still, it's theft. And theft is wrong, no matter how you cut it. And it doesn't matter who the victim is, and it doesn't matter if you have sympathy for the victim, it doesn't matter if they can afford it. It's still theft, and it's still wrong. Who are you to say that rich people didn't earn their money? Okay, granted, there are some people who are born into wealthy families and they get an easier ride through life. And I'm sure a lot of people would feel that they didn't earn that money. But what about all the people who were born into poverty who managed to make something of themselves? Would you say that they didn't earn their money? The minute you can show me a formula that we can use to determine whether or not somebody actually earned their money, then we'll have something to talk about. A little fun formula where you can input labor, input the intellectual capacity required for certain jobs, the skills one possesses in order to be able to do that job, the cost to train somebody to be able to have those skills to do that job. The minute you come up with a formula that can prove once and for all that someone didn't earn their money and someone did, then we can have that discussion. But until you can prove it, you're just being a douchebag. You're absolutely right, my good sir. My salary is paid for by your tax dollars, and I thank you for every penny. Including all you people who supposedly don't support the troops, I really appreciate you paying your taxes and supporting me. But here's the problem with comparing welfare programs to, basic essentials for the infrastructure of government. Everyone benefits from police and the fire department and the military and roads, etc. Not everyone is eligible for welfare, therefore not everyone can benefit from welfare. And not everybody pays for welfare. The people who are essentially paying for welfare are the ones who can't even use it in the first place. And that's what makes it wrong. Yeah, I completely agree. People should help one another. I think altruism should be a promoted concept. I think the world would be a better place if everyone was willing to give a little to their neighbor who's, down on his luck. But I don't think it's the government's job to force everybody to take care of everybody. You can't enforce and regulate compassion. It doesn't work that way. If you want to change the world, you do it one step at a time. It's a long and painful process. You know what I never see? A liberal who's willing to volunteer his time to tutor some underprivileged black kid in inner city school so he can get better grades and hopefully make something of himself. If you want to convince me that everyone should be forced to help one another, maybe you should start by setting the example. I hear this all the time and it really makes me want to fucking vomit. Okay, check this out. Let's say a guy wants to open a business, or run one I should say. He gets it in his head that he wants to build an airport. Now he can't afford to build this business by himself. Airplanes and the building, all that shit's gonna cost money. So he goes out and he convinces a bunch of people to invest in this company to get it up and running. Now the guy has all the money he needs to build this business. So he does. He builds the building, he gets the airplanes, he hires the workers, etc. Now if the owners of that business don't increase profits for that business, the shareholders won't make any fucking money. You see, at the end of every fiscal year, all of the shareholders who originally invested into this company receive a certain percentage of the profits that the company makes. Now, if the business isn't making any money, then the shareholders aren't making any money. They put all their money in this business and they're not getting a cent back. That's not cool for them. They don't want to own those shares anymore, so they try to sell it to somebody else, but nobody's going to buy shares in a business that's not making any money. And if enough shareholders get irate that they're not making any money, they could hold a meeting, decide to shut down the business, sell all the assets, and then divide up the money from the assets and distribute it amongst the shareholders, and then everybody goes their separate ways. But wait a minute. If that happens, all the people who worked for that airport are going to lose their fucking jobs. That's not a good thing. So if CEOs and business owners, etc., don't increase the profits for their shareholders, the business won't succeed and people will lose their jobs. So their greed gives people jobs, keeps them employed. So quit your bitching. I don't think capitalism failed. I think a lot of other things failed. White-collar crime wasn't being prosecuted to the extent that it should have been. Banks were getting away with fraud and theft, and no one was prosecuting them either. What we had to begin with in this country wasn't really capitalism. It was this twisted, deformed version of capitalism with a big business in bed with government, etc. And that's what fucked everybody. You seem to be under the impression that the big businesses and all the wealthy people have all the power. They don't, my friend. You do. I do. The poor people do. The consumers do. You see, if we don't shop at Walmart, Walmart will cease to be. The reason all these businesses and these wealthy people have all this power is because we give them our money. Because most of us are apathetic and just don't give a shit. If you want to make a change, you can do it all by yourself. Let's say Walmart's paying people wages that you don't think are really fair. And you're not the only person who thinks that. Let's say a whole bunch of people think that. Then get behind that cause. Convince other people that Walmart shouldn't be supported. Convince people not to work for that company unless they decide to increase their wages for their employees, or start to treat them more fairly. Now sure, this process, it takes a long time and it takes a lot of work and effort, but I assure you it's possible. But hey, maybe it is too much work for you, so why not just go to the government and have them fix everything for you? Wait a minute, where have I heard that before? That's the same mentality of the freeloaders who mooch off the welfare system. I forgot. And your point being? Heaven forbid someone think that all citizens should be treated fairly as far as taxation goes, and not be discriminated against because of their economic bracket. I think you're the one who's against people helping out one another. Unless, of course, everybody else who doesn't want to help out one another is forced to help out one another. Kind of selfish, don't you think? I've lived in 2 homeless shelters growing up, and you want to know something? They were not paid for by tax dollars. They were put into place by community leaders and organizers and charitable people who wanted to see homeless people get another chance. You don't need the government in order to help people. You can do it all by yourself. Promote the idea. Encourage giving. I think altruism is a beautiful thing. What I'm against is having the government force you to do it. Oh my god, you know who else thinks that? In Mendham. Congratulations, you have something in common with a crazy fucker who would probably snap and kill 20 people if he lost his e-cigarette. I am below the poverty line. My PayPal is in the box down below if you want to help a brother out, if you feel that giving is a good thing that should be promoted.